without really trying, and the caption above it said, "He needs a lesson," because he knows how to succeed. So, but all of a sudden, there we are, November 22nd, 1963, he's assassinated. May I also add, the next night was the night that Fade Out, Fade In was originally supposed to open.
Yep.
I bet they wouldn't have. I mean, shows did open within 24 hours of Kennedy being declared dead, but still, I don't think they would have done opening night. But anyway, here's my point. That was November 22nd. On December 4th, that's when the Beatles released I Want to Hold Your Hand. Now, I started reading Variety at in the middle of '63, and I had heard that this group called the Beatles was coming over, and they had this song called I Want to Hold Your Hand. And I said, in my infinite 17-year-old wisdom, nothing's going to come of that, because my generation has already held hands, and we want to hold substantially more. It's going to seem naive, I want to hold your hand, but something happened in this country, we needed a fix quickly. And of course the youth of America, that included me at the time, was so pro-Kennedy because we could relate to his being young. Suddenly we had a man in the White House who didn't strike us as being young, but here were these guys from England, and again the fact that it was another country made it exotic. So that was part of the reason the Beatles succeeded, but there's another reason too. I am the quintessential baby boomer. I was born literally 9 months after World War II ended, and there were a lot of us around. By the time 1964 rolled around, 63, 64, we were 16, 17 years old, and the point is now we were working. So instead of going to our parents and saying, oh, will you give us 89 cents so we can buy a 45 RPM record with a big hole in it, what we said instead was, we've got money now, we're working, we're going to buy albums. And we had now the marketing power to be able to buy 33 1/3 records, which we couldn't do before, we couldn't afford. And our parents said, that's too expensive. But now we were at home, living at home, working, and we had the disposable income to buy the albums that were not in the public consciousness anymore because the Beatles were doing so well. This was the end of it. In '64, during the summer of '64, the #1 album in the country for much of the time was the cast album of Hello Dolly. That seems so hard to believe now. The #2 album in the country for much of the time was Funny Girl. But by the end of the summer, the Beatles albums had overtaken them, and so American music changed